Hi, so today we're going to talk about how to autoclave instruments, or in this case, silverware, to practice autoclaving at home. And what we're going to use is a peel pouch, or you can use your autoclave packet that you created with the special tape and the autoclave paper. You're going to need a steam indicator strip with both of those methods, a pen. I'm going to use a Sharpie so you can see it a little easier. Your desired equipment, and make sure that it fits before you start, and in this case it does. You're going to need, for an Instapot or the crock pot version of a pressure cooker, we're going to need about a cup of water. I have this little grate that I can put down on the bottom because what we're going to do is create steam. So I don't want this envelope inside the bottom of my pressure cooker with it sitting in the water. It needs to be up above it, okay, so that my paper doesn't get too wet. If you don't have something like this and you have a glass measuring cup, you can actually pour the water into the base of your crock pot, your pressure cooker, and then set this glass down on the inside and the center, and then your little packet can rest on top, and that'll keep it up out of the way of the water. Again, it's about a cup for a pressure cooker that's the Instapot variety or crock pot variety pressure cooker. Again, it needs to be a pressure cooker, not a crock pot that does slow heat for long periods of time. This has to be done with a specific amount of pressure for it to work. If you're using a stovetop pressure cooker, then you might need to add a little bit more than 1 cup of water. You want to get roughly about 3/4 of an inch of water at the base of your container, and that's what builds up to create the pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare my sample. I have to make sure that I've already sanitized this, okay? Because when you eat or when you do surgery, your instrument's going to have gunk on it. So you're going to make sure that you wear gloves, go into the sink in your lab, and you're scrubbing it with the brushes and the special soap that kills the enzymes and tissues and blood. We want to make sure we don't have any blood on our instruments, or in this case with our fork, we want to make sure we don't have any food particles on it before we autoclave it. I'm going to write on the indicator strip my initials and the date. I'll do that right here. And I'm going to place this inside the packet. Now the pouch does have its own indicator on it, but I want to make doubly sure that I did this properly, so I'm going to place the indicator strip inside. Now, handle side down into your pouch. Make sure your instrument fits in a way that if you fold down the top, it should give you a proper seal, okay? Okay, and again, to confirm that I have a good seal, you should be able to see that blue line right here where that paper, the blue plastic, has made it through, and it's all connected and sealed. Once that's in place, then I need to go ahead and label my instrument. You could have done that before you put the instrument in there. That's okay too, as long as it's on there before it's placed into your autoclaving equipment. So our instrument is a fork. We have that labeled, my initials, today's date, the expiration date. So if today, if it's May, then May, June, July, August. So 8/5/20. Okay. And now we're going to get our crock pot ready. You want to make sure that your device is clean, that it's empty. There's no extra water or anything in here that would keep it from getting a good seal. Okay, you have the ring there. Inside the bucket here is empty at the moment, but we're going to fill that up with some water. And we already grabbed that from the sink. So for mine, again, it's about at least a cup of water. For the pressure cookers that are on the stovetop, it might be closer to 3/4 of an inch deep inside. Okay, now if I put my little device down, then you can see that the water doesn't go above it. There's still a little bit of a gap between the bottom of this grill or grate and the water, and that's what we're looking for. We don't want our package to be touching the water. If you use something as a separator device, make sure it's not plastic so it doesn't melt. Glass is preferred, if not metal. So that's what it would look like with the grate, but if you don't have a grate, you can go ahead and use your measuring cup, and you would place your instrument like so. Okay, so that it's resting on top. There's space down between where the water is and where the top is of the container. We want to make sure that we don't go over that max fill line with how far up our stuff should be, and it's right there, so we're good. I'm going to go ahead and take this glass cup out and use the grate that it came with, and place my equipment down inside. Okay, now we're going to put the lid on. We want to make sure that we line this up properly. Here's the unlock and here's the lock. I want to make sure that it's on. I want to make sure that the pressure gauge is in the off or closed position here, not the open position. So make sure that that's pointing there. Okay, and then I'm going to close this, putting it in the lock position, which allows us to go ahead and start this process. With your Instapot or your crock pot version of the pressure cooker, then you can go ahead and hit the meat and stew settings for 30 minutes. And that setting has the right pressure and temperature necessary to actually perform autoclaving or sterilization of your equipment. So we're going to go ahead and push start on that and get it started. With this or the stove top, you're going to have time to build up heat and the pressure within that system. If you're using the stovetop method with a regular standard pressure cooker, you want to make sure you place it on your stove top on a high setting, and once you hear the pressure build up, then you bring the temperature down to a simmer setting and then set a timer for 1 hour. So we're going to go ahead and wait till this heats up and then get started.